Long before the town learned to trust its locks, before porch lights glowed warm and steady, the night belonged to something else. It did not have claws. It did not have teeth. It had whispers. And whispers are far more dangerous. The town of Alder Hollow looked peaceful from above. Narrow streets curled like ribbons between houses with slanted roofs and chimneys that puffed soft clouds into the evening sky. At sunset, windows glowed gold. Doors shut. Curtains were drawn. And with every click of a lock, the whisper grew stronger. It lived in the space between heartbeats. In the silence after someone said, "I'm fine," when they weren't. In the moment just before sleep, when the mind wanders where it shouldn't. No one knew when it first arrived. But the cats did. Especially one. His name was Onyx. His fur was so dark it swallowed moonlight. His eyes shone like molten gold, bright enough to pierce shadows. By day, he seemed ordinary, stretching lazily on windowsills, weaving between legs at the bakery, blinking slowly at anyone who met his gaze. But when the sky bruised purple and the first star flickered, Onyx did not sleep. He listened. The first scream came on a windless night. Not a loud scream. Not one that echoed through streets. It came from inside a dream. A small boy named Tomas tossed beneath his blanket, caught in a nightmare he couldn't escape. In his dream, something followed him through a forest with no end. Every time he turned, he heard it. "I'm still here." The whisper was learning to take shape, from rooftop to rooftop. Onyx moved like a spill of ink, silent and precise. He paused above Tomas's window. His ears twitched. He heard the whisper's voice, soft, smiling, cruel. Onyx's golden eyes narrowed. With a single leap, he landed on the windowsill. The latch trembled and lifted on its own, as though the house itself welcomed him in. Inside, the air felt wrong, heavy, thick. The whisper clung to the ceiling like smoke, stretching long fingers toward the sleeping boy. "You can't run," it breathed inside the dream. Tomas whimpered. Onyx stepped onto the bed. The mattress did not dip beneath his weight. He stared at the shadow above. The whisper shifted, forming hollow eyes and a crooked grin. "This one is afraid of being alone," it hissed. "He fears the dark." Onyx said nothing. He sat, wrapped his tail neatly around his paws, and began to purr. But this was no gentle, sleepy purr. This sound vibrated deep like distant thunder rolling across mountains. It shook the walls without breaking them. It traveled through Tomas's dream, threading through the dark forest like golden light between trees. The shadow shrieked. The forest in Tomas's dream changed. The endless trees thinned. Fireflies blinked awake. The path beneath his feet solidified. The whisper pulled back. "No," it rasped. Onyx's purr grew louder. The golden sound cracked through the nightmare like lightning splitting a storm cloud. The shadow fractured, shattered, and dissolved into a fine mist that slipped through the cracks beneath the door. Tomas's breathing steadied. Onyx slipped down from the bed and vanished before morning. But the whisper was not destroyed. It had only been divided. Like smoke through open windows, it scattered across Alder Hollow. Into the room of a girl afraid to perform on stage. Into the mind of a baker worried he would lose his shop. Into the heart of a mother lying awake, counting unpaid bills. Fear is easiest to spread in silence, and the whisper grew clever. It stopped chasing dreams. Instead, it waited. It perched in corners. It crouched beneath beds. It learned the shape of doubt. Within days, the town felt different. People snapped at one another. Sleep came thin and restless. Even the dogs refused to bark at night. Only Onyx moved calmly through the growing unease. He climbed the church tower and watched, from up high. He saw it clearly, the whisper weaving between houses like a pale serpent made of smoke and secrets. "You cannot stop me," it murmured across rooftops. "Fear lives in them already." Onyx leapt down. This time, he did not hunt the fragments. He waited. Because even shadows must gather before they strike. The night it happened, the moon vanished behind thick clouds. No stars shone. The town lay in near total darkness. That was when the whisper rose. Not as smoke, not as mist, but as a towering shape stretching above the rooftops, stitched together from every anxious thought it had stolen. It had eyes now, hundreds of them, all blinking, all searching. Windows rattled, doors trembled in their frames, children stirred, adults woke with pounding hearts and no reason why. Onyx stood alone in the middle of Main Street. He looked small beneath the massive shadow. There, Whisper laughed, a sound like dry leaves scraping stone. You are only one cat. Onyx's golden eyes burned brighter. The night shifted. Wine circled the street, tugging at curtains and chimneys. The darkness itself seemed to lean toward Onyx, as though awaiting instruction. Because this was the truth the Whisper did not understand, the night did not belong to fear. It belonged to him. Onyx lifted his head. And this time, he did not only purr. He roared. It was a sound no human ear could fully hear. It rolled beneath the earth, through pipes and foundations. It hummed inside rib cages. It awakened something older than doubt. Courage. Golden light burst from his eyes, racing up the shadow's towering form like fire climbing dry branches. The Whisper shrieked as cracks split through its body. You cannot erase fear, it howled. Onyx stepped forward, and blinking, the roar turned into a resonating, thunderous purr that wrapped the entire town in warmth. In their beds, people felt it. The baker inhaled deeply and remembered why he loved kneading dough before sunrise. The girl on the edge of performance felt her heartbeat steady. The mother counting bills felt a flicker of hope instead of dread. The Whisper weakened. Its many eyes dimmed. You will return, it hissed desperately. Fear will return, the night answered in a voice carried by the wind. But so will he. The shadow exploded into thousands of harmless sparks that drifted upward and vanished beyond the clouds. Silence fell. Real silence. The kind that feels safe. When morning came, Alder Hollow felt lighter. No one remembered the towering shadow. No one remembered the roar. They only knew they had slept deeply. Onyx lay curled in a patch of sunlight beside the bakery, one eye half open. To passersby, he was just a black cat dozing peacefully. But when evening came again, when the sky darkened, when worries tried to creep back in, golden eyes opened, watching, waiting. Because fear will always test the edges of the dark. And somewhere in the quiet streets, soft paws will move without sound, guarding, always guarding, the night. Good night.